Hey guys, it's Mike with Become the Night. Welcome back to another Song Suggestion Friday. This is the show where you guys put your suggestions in the comments below of the most current Song Suggestion Friday. Only one suggestion. I pick some, I throw them into a poll on Patreon. If you would like to take part in that Patreon poll, go to the link in the description, pledge $5 or more a month, and you can take part in that as well. The patrons vote on which ones they want. I take the top selections, I listen to them, I give you my feedback and my opinion. I grade them on a scale of plus, minus, or equal sign, depending on whether or not I would seek that song out again. Minus sign means I would actively avoid it. Let's begin. Blackstar by David Bowie. The intro to the song is chill, but also crazy at the same time. Has some really weird sounds going on that are all, I think, supposed to throw you off balance, and they have this drum beat in there that has no hi-hat and also does some weird subdivisions, which is really cool and throws you off in like this weird fun way. The vocal harmonies, especially in the beginning and like the verse parts, are hypnotic. They're really good. There is a very well layered and diverse timbre palette throughout this song. I mean, you can tell there was a lot of thought put into this production because your ears are getting pulled a bunch of different directions. And throughout the first half of the song, it's like kind of weird and demented a little bit, and then around 4:20, it just trails off into this like love song or like a musical type sound. It's kind of interesting, those two parts contrasting one another. Now, I wish he would have used some updated samples on the keyboard and on the drums, because I mean, they are real drums that are being played, but they're sampled underneath. I understand he's trying to convey an effect, but you know, just my personal taste. Another thing of note is when he says the line, I forget what's in the line, but he ends it with Blackstar, there's a very jarring vocal change and a different mix change that kind of like sucks the air out of the vocals and almost like puts pressure on your ears. It's really cool. There's a lot of different instruments in this song, all with very precise placement. This song was definitely arranged and composed well. Very weird, but very cool. Total grade for this song, 1+ sign. Stacked Actors by the Foo Fighters. The intro sounds an awful lot like Nirvana, I'm not gonna lie. I really like the way it dropped off in, I think it's the verse section, to these bossa style drums and delayed guitar. One thing that immediately caught my attention was the melody in the verse is really similar to the melody in the bridge of the song The Pretender. I could honestly really do without that main guitar riff that's in the intro and the chorus. I mean, the vocals do help place it better, but I don't know. Just kind of like a meh thing to me. And I'm really not a fan of those types of bridges typically, but with the crushed room sound that they have going on in the mix, I think that actually works with what's going on in the song, and I don't really mind it as much. Kind of gives it like a garage band sound. Total grade for this song, + sign. Beelzebub by Bruford. Really cool jazz, offbeat, groovy piece. Beautiful sax. As a matter of fact, at first I thought that the saxophone player was Bill Bruford because this is an instrumental, and I thought they were trying to feature an instrument, and it sounded like it would be sax. The sax is all over the place, really well done. I've never heard a sax played that low. That was kick-ass. But Bill Bruford is actually the drummer, which kind of does make sense because there's weird-ass timings in this one. I really like them, but it's like crazy. The constant mezzo piano dynamic with the staccato and kind of offbeat melody in the beginning really kind of conveys like a sneaky feel. And the chromatic runs in that melody part also kind of gave it a mischievous feel. The production was simple and clean as it should be for jazz. No fancy tricks, just let the instruments speak for themselves. The frequency blend between the bass and the piano I thought was fantastic. I don't know if that was natural or if it was kind of helped with some EQ, but it sounded great. Total grade for this song, + sign. Love Her Madly, The Doors. I never liked The Doors. I don't care for this song. Jim Morrison is an overrated singer. The coolest part of this song is definitely the bass, although I will say surprisingly good production. With the exception of the guitar that sounds like a piece of tin. The arpeggio part on the guitar in, I think, the pre-chorus section is interesting, but the rest of the guitar parts are freaking lame. Oh, and Kurt Cobain can play a better guitar solo than what's in this song, and he's dead. And he's also Kurt Cobain. Total grade for this song, = sign, strictly out of the fact that I have had to adapt to everyone else loving The Doors, and I have just become numb to it. Don't Look Back, Boston. This is a sound that was definitely ahead of its time. It was 80s before the 80s. This has a very good production, though I will say you needed a little more low end on the bass. I felt like something was missing. And oh my gosh, the chorus that inspired every 80s hair band. Seriously. It's an epic chorus, by the way. And I picked this up for the first time. The drum mix actually sounds a bit like Rush's drums. And the whole mix in general is actually really tight, with the exception of the guitars. They actually gave the guitars more room to breathe and kind of be larger than life, which is kind of what helps sell that arena rock sound, which I happen to be a fan of the arena rock sound. The singing is good and the melodies are interesting, but it's just not my vocal timbre, not really my thing. And the guitar leads throughout the song are excellent and they do their job. They're not overly complicated, they're just melodic and proper. Total grade for this song, +. The Lady Wore Black by Queensryche. It really reminds me of Children of the Damned by Iron Maiden. They even have similar vocals to Bruce. The mix is alright, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. They really could have been helped a lot by a little more beef in the guitars. They just feel so hollow and shrill. And because of that, they really don't mix very well with the bass, and that just kind of makes your whole mix kind of feel like less powerful. And also, this song is a little simpler than what I'm used to from Queensryche. And to be honest, I really don't know that I have much more to say about this song. If you've listened to Children of the Damned by Iron Maiden, you've heard this song, only Iron Maiden is actually more enjoyable by a long shot. The riffs are okay, the singing is good, but the melodies are kind of boring. The drums are okay, the bass is okay, like everything is just okay at best. Total grade for this song, =. Recharging the Void by Vektor. I really like the rhythm of that rhythm guitar in the intro, especially when it's counterpointed by the intro melody, makes it really cool. And again, I'll reiterate, I am not a fan of blast beats, which there is not a huge amount, but enough for a more prolonged period of time that I would enjoy. Not to mention the guy's voice is terrible as far as the growls go. Like, maybe if you like that style, you can get into it. I hate that style. Though I will say the guitar melodies are badass. My personal preferences aside, this song has fantastic composition. They're abnormal in that fun and not quite to the level of pretentiousness way. Has good production, and actually the way that the drums are mixed is very atypical for metal. And in a way, I think that really helps, because releasing some of the compression off of the drums, that's really what they're missing. They're missing a lot of that tighter compression. Releasing that from there kind of helps them breathe and feel more natural. And some of the parts that are in here need to breathe and feel more natural. The guitar solo was good, but I feel like you can hear his talent and how well he can play technically. And I've heard other of his writing stuff that he did on this song, you know, other of his writing of the melodies. So like, what happened is that this guitar solo just kind of missed the melodic mark for me. The clean part that comes in around 6 minutes is clean and seamless. It's really nice. And the lady's voice that they added for production purposes was a nice touch. And then the part immediately following that, which I don't know how to describe because this thing doesn't really have definitive parts, has an amazing soundscape, layers of guitars, moving bass, just lots of color in this part in like the best way. And the last 2 to 3 minutes of this song are kick-ass as well. Total grade for this song, +. Under Pressure by Logic. The opening beat is really interesting. It's really cool. And again, I am also a sucker for natural sampling. The opening beat I would describe as something like dark hip hop or like gothic, you know, like really dark. Logic's flow is fantastic, and I really like his vocal quality too. It sounds young, which I don't know how old he is, but it sounds young. But it's not like whiny or annoying, and it's just really solid and on point. I am not going to be able to give this a lyrical grade or breakdown. I cannot consume and process that much lyrics at the same time and still be in the song. But I can tell you from some of the stuff that I picked up, I thought some of it was actually quite poignant for what I could pick up. And then the beat change to that jazz guitar and that bass. Oh my gosh, that bass. That was badass. Kind of went from gothic to like chill jazz, and dude, that moving bass, you gotta listen to that bass when the second beat comes in, so hot. Now they have this constant drone sample that plays underneath, I believe, both beats, that repeats throughout pretty much the whole song, and you'd think it would get annoying, but I mean, they mix it up, they mix it down, they kind of filter it a little bit here and there. It helps drive home this hypnotic effect, and it does it very effectively. I never thought I would say I want to listen to a 9-minute rap song again, but I'm about to. This is good rap. Heartfelt, real story, it feels authentic at least, great production, and flows dope as hell. Why doesn't more stuff that sound like this get more radio play? Just a thought. Total grade for this song, +. I'm Broken by Pantera. Ah, the birth of bro metal in one intro riff. There is a really cool feel change in the verse. It kind of has an accent on the up 8th beat. The main riff is like okay, but let's be honest, I'm just waiting for that stutter feel in the verse that just kicks ass. It's groovy and it's killer. And as always, you're gonna get that southern fried, 80s inspired shred from Dimebag in a solo. And this one was like, it was alright. It definitely wasn't his greatest, but it wasn't bad by any means. I don't think I've ever heard a bad Dimebag solo. Not really much more to say. It's cool. Not amazing, but cool. Total grade for this song, =. Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. Yes, it is finally here. Very simple beginning with the stereotypical downbeat piano chords. Though I will say his singing is very touching. And also, I like the vocal effects that they added at the pre-chorus part. That was a nice touch. The song overall kind of has like a 1970s psychedelic rock feel, but like more traditional rock influenced. And the tone of that guitar and the way it was recorded really helped sell that. The one thing I would say that would really help the production of the song, the snare is way too upfront, it's way too beefy. They were trying to get a really low-end sounding snare, and I guarantee it's because they layered it with a bunch of samples underneath that snare. They probably used like 3 separate snare samples to get that sound. And like it sounds so manufactured. I really did not like that. I would have been happier with some more natural sounding drums. Although I will say that kick sounds fantastic. It's very deep. It's not boomy and like huge, it's just very deep. I don't think I'm really gonna seek this song out again, to be honest with you, but I can appreciate what he did songwriting wise, and the production was very thoughtful. Especially the choice to add choir and string synth at certain parts to help emphasize parts more. Very good choice. Total grade for this song, =. And now it is time for my suggestion. I forget if I suggested this already, but I suggest that you go check out The Drapery Falls by Opeth. The Drapery Falls is one of my favorite songs on Blackwater Park. No, it's not my favorite. Bleak is my favorite. But that intro to that song, holy lord. If you just sit down, relax, don't do anything, and just let the music take you away on its journey, you'll go so many places. Especially if you're in an altered state of mind. That is it for Song Suggestion Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your suggestions in the comments below. If you want to take part in that Patreon poll, go to the link in the description, pledge $5 or more a month, and you can take part in that Patreon poll. There's a link down there to my merch store. If you want some cool Become the Night merch, go ahead, check it out, and maybe grab some cool shit you can show off to your friends. If you'd like to keep in touch with when my videos come out, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Become the Night. Or you can go down to the little subscribe button down below where there's that little bell. Click that bell and say, yes, I want to be notified every time Mike uploads a frickin' video. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on!